Welcome to this meeting of the Board of Appeals on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. We have two matters on the agenda, one of which involves a public hearing for a special permit. And the other is an administrative matter. So we'll take up the meatier of the two first. So if no one objects, I'm going to read the public hearing notice,
Please.
or at least a condensed version of it. Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mural Room at 878 Tremont Street on Thursday, January 23rd at 7:30 to consider the application of the Village of Duxbury for a special permit under Articles 400, 600, and 900, Sections 401, 410, 430, 601, 601.3, 601.4, 601.6, 601.9, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw. Property is located at 290 Kingstown Way, parcel number 032-721-002 of the Duxbury Assessor's Map, consisting of 29.10 acres in the Residential Compatibility District and the PD District, owned by the Village of Duxbury Homeowners Cooperative Corporation. The applicant proposes to eliminate a previously permitted freestanding sign originally granted with special permit 89-17, where this goes way back. Special permit is required. Application may be reviewed on our website. The materials are all here. Any person with a disability may request accommodation by contacting the Municipal Services Department. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting is being conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. The option for remote attendance is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, but the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. Meetings being recorded and may be viewed on broadcast, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9 at a future time. And so that is the public hearing notice. We have a copy of the public hearing notice, which I will not bore you with. The record on this case, at least in the packet I received, is the application for the elimination of the sign with some attachments to it. The plan, the existing sign, the very old special permit, which I should tell you, I remember quite well because I was kicking around at that time on the planning board. The Board of Health sent us a comment memo on this on December 16th, that they have no comments on the application to eliminate the sign. And then we received a short memo from the planning board recommending endorsement of the special permit application for 290 Kingstown Way. And that was almost unanimous. That's what I have in the file. Am I missing anything?
There is a memo from Conservation Commission.
Oh, did I skip over it or did I just not have it? Ah,
Yeah.
good shoot. Conservation Commission on December 23rd, right before Christmas, sent us a memo that the Conservation Administrator had reviewed the plans and determined that it falls under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. A filing with this office is required as the work will occur within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland located across the street. Since the work has already been completed and involved minimal disturbance, I'm sorry, filing an after the fact request for determination will suffice. And that, I do believe, wraps up the.
Yes.
So, discussed this also.
Yes, thank you. Return to the applicant.
I guess that would be me. My name is Luke Kramer. I'm the executive director at the Village of Duxbury. I'm with my colleague Josh Curtis, who's the building services director. We had received a request from a resident that the sign was inadequately lit. We were working with a licensed electrician to add some additional lighting. The resident was not, made a complaint to the town about the lack of light on the sign in his judgment. This prompted the building department to take a look in the file and they were not able to find an application for illumination at all. They were very helpful to us, explained what needed to happen. We were at the planning board last week and we're here tonight asking to please grant us permission to to illuminate the sign.
You had to go to two boards to get permission to illuminate the sign. Okay, I'm not
Yes.
gonna say anything. Does anyone on the board have any questions or concerns or comments?
You
Nobody?
Do we typically require that it's off by a particular time and all that stuff? It's not gonna bother everybody though, is it?
Yes,
That-
we do require that they go off during, outside of the normal hours of business, but it's hard to understand what that would be in this instance.
Yeah, there is traffic going in and out, including emergency traffic.
That's what I'm concerned about.
24/7, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that the sign right there?
That's the bottom of it. I think there's a better image, right, Mark?
We'll get to you, sir. Just hang on a second.
Oh, right there.
And we're also only interested in illuminating the sign and nothing over the top, just so that it's visible.
Is there, in that photograph, was there a light at the bottom of the sign already? Is that,
That's the existing light,
oh,
Correct.
okay, that's the one that's not sufficient.
correct?
But that's a different sign, isn't it?
That's an actual photograph of the sign.
Can we scroll down again a little bit?
I don't know that we have,
The other down.
oh, there we go. Oh, here we go.
Where do you want? Okay,
That is the sign.
all right. So how are you gonna light it?
Just enhancing the lighting on the ground that's pointing at the sign.
Are they gonna point out towards the street?
No, sir, just on the sign.
It looks like the one on the back is pointing towards the street maybe, or,
Should be aimed at the sign. That's the point of the light.
but the light up against the fence, is that a light there?
Josh, you know?
Yeah, so that's a light against the fence, but that one is angled more towards the other part of the median on the right side. It doesn't go into the street. And that's just so the elderly can see it on both sides for safety.
I would think it would have to be out on this side of the sign to point away from the street.
We just wanted to illuminate both sides because they'll be coming from both ways.
I understand, but looks like that one's pointing.
So, incorrectly, we do this stuff. So there might be a little guy here, a little guy here in the ground. You know, beside it, shooting right out.
That's what we're into.
Two low voltage lights.
Yeah.
LED.
I would think the one against the sign would come out close to the street, pointing back away from the street.
Yeah. The idea is to just aim the lights at the sign
And away from the street.
and away from the street, correct?
Great.
Anybody else have any comments they're gonna ask? Anyone here, interested in this application and wants to address the board? So did you have your hand raised? I think you did. Can you come up? Actually, do we even have a microphone?
No,
No,
see, that's the
Owl.
turtle.
Oh, so you can just, but identify yourself by name and address, please.
My name is Bob Hayden. I live right across the street from that sign. And I'm here. I took some photos last night at 9 o'clock in the at evening. When my wife and I go to bed, we're right across the street, our bedroom, our house is kind of like this. Our bedroom is closest to the side. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we got light coming into our bedroom. And I mean, we go to bed at 10 o'clock. The light's on and it's on all night. And I think there's adequate lighting there for anybody that pulls in there. There's adequate lighting for anybody. Yeah, I guess these are the photos from 9 o'clock last night. I just asked, I mean, I want to be a good neighbor. But it's right now, it's right in our bedroom.
That guy there, you think, that light there,
Yeah,
you think that,
so
right, you got a street light, and that light.
Could you put lights up by pointing down maybe on the sign?
or should I suggest? Can we dim it at a certain time? I mean. It's a quiet street generally. They got the memory building there now. everything's lit up right at all hours of the night, and I don't see any traffic. Like, can we dim it at night?
I don't think that would be advisable, given the concerns we have about people being able to find their way in. And we want to be good neighbors too. Don't want to disturb the light. And I think, we'll definitely make sure that it's aimed in, but I do think it's important that people be able to find their way in. And even in the middle of the night, because sometimes
There's a street light right above it,
there is, yeah.
and so I don't understand why
Can't
that,
be there. We need one, a little guy.
I don't understand why the sign has to be lit up. There's a street light right above it. I think it's indicated in the photos I sent you, that I took last night. I don't know how much traffic. People coming in out of the elderly home at the wee hours in the morning, but I just asked that it's very visible to get in and out. I just asked my wife and I, who were trying to, when we moved in 2012, it wasn't that light, it wasn't that lit up. Now it's, a few years ago, it's a lot more prominent. I just asked that it's, that you take me into consideration. We're right here, our bedroom's right.
That guy's shining right in your bedroom. That
Yeah.
light, I get that. It's done wrong.
Yeah, that picture that Phil has
You need
shows
two
that.
tiny little landscape lights. They're gonna shoot from the road to that side beside it, but they can't.
Point
And
out.
they'll have backstops on them. I wish I could pull up a I might be able to. That the light can't bleed out.
Or if the lights were
I wish I had,
on top.
No, that'll be even more prominent.
Think so?
I wish I had a switch in my bedroom. I could just, at like 10 o'clock at night, I could just dim it. You can't just go to bed. But I don't, there's no traffic. I'm right there. There's no traffic going by in and out of the place that, I don't know why it has to be lit up so much. I just asked you to consider,
Right, no, they have to be small LEDs. They can't be those are spotlights in reality, in the ground that is stuck in your, that's what you put in to light up your wreath at Christmas time. Wrong lights, totally wrong application.
Are you volunteering to work with them on that?
I would identify, one of my companies does it. I'm not suggesting we do it, but I could tell you what should be done. I mean, there is such a thing as light pollution.
my wife and I are probably the only people in Duxbury that are affected by this light, but it's right, it
I
is.
understand.
You know,
I think done right,
Fair
though,
enough.
you would be happy with the lens is that big. It's so low, but it's gonna shoot up to there and it's gonna blow the light the opposite way. I get what you're saying. I understand totally.
It almost
And,
looks like-
and thank you for bringing that to our attention, and as the Director of Building Services, I'll ensure that there's a dim light put in that
Yeah.
direction. Reoriented.
Lights.
I want you to get Josh's card when we leave, and, if it's bothering you, let us
Thank
know.
you, thank you very much. Thank you.
We're not hard to find, right across the street.
Right.
So you're willing to work with the couple, and if they don't work great, maybe they're gonna be low voltage lights.
Yep.
These are 100-watt spots right there. I bet you'd be happy,
Okay,
and I think I'm willing to vote yes, if you guys work together. If you give me a card, I'll send you an email of pictures of exactly what is
Absolutely.
designed.
So my only concern is we need to write conditions for this. How
Sure,
are we gonna do this?
I don't know. You're the chairperson.
Well, in the past, we've included the language, a reasonable intensity.
Mhm.
We've also usually included language about the hours of operation, but I agree that in this instance, I don't think we can shut them off completely
Right.
because there is potential for 24-hour activity. But I
Right.
think that reasonable intensity leaves enough subjectivity in
I'm gonna
it
try to find a picture.
that if. the
Can we-
numbers
Can we
happen-
talk about the 24-hour activity thing for a second?
Sure.
Who's coming there in the middle of the night?
The Duxbury
Paramedics?
Fire Department
Yeah,
paramedics, like yesterday, they were there 3 times.
Right, it's emergency medical,
Well, the residents come and go. They're not locked in there.
right,
Correct.
yeah, I
Yeah, but-
understand.
but- yeah, the residents come and go and the paramedics know where the place is.
That's exactly my point. The fire department, they know where to take that left turn. They don't have to read the sign. It's under a street light. Right? I mean, there's a white picket fence. It's all lit up in the photos.
I don't have a problem with the 24-hour light. I'm deeply concerned about the impact on you.
Could you show that to them?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's an MR30, the bulb is so, it'll light the sign and
They'll
that's
do
it.
exactly what this.
And you're gonna face it like this, so the backside doesn't allow any bleed out, zero bleed out.
What would be helpful would be to be able to say that or equal. I mean, that's
Sure.
typically the way a spec is written, so it would be that fixture or equal, reasonable intensity, however you want, but I mean, we need to be able to resolve this
Right.
in favor of both of these parties, and
It's an MR16 LED bulb is what they're calling it.
MRC.
MR16 LED bulb, 2700K with a 450 LM.
Oh, and choose that for this old lady.
There's not a ton, I have that exact,
That's about a 30-watt bulb equivalent to.
Well, if that's what we're,
plus it's backstop, it's only going one way.
I've used, I'm sorry, what did I leave? So
30.
MR16 LED bulb, 2700K, 450 LM, CR 185. And it's a 12-volt outdoor landscape light. And it's called COLOER.
can you just repeat that, please?
Yeah. Sorry,
Can you just repeat that, please?
yeah,
So I-
COLOER.
This gives me enough to work with. I'd just like to get enough specificity in the decision, so there's no argument later. So if we can do a sort of an item or equal, I think we get there. I mean, that's how we would typically write a spec, so.
Are you feeling any better?
I do. My only thing is, so we make a decision here today, I walk out and I mean, if the new lights are,
Too much.
yeah, like what's my request? Can we have like a future status date or something, or like,
Sure.
we put the lights in? and-
I would say first step would just be to call me, and
Yeah.
if that can't get resolved, if you have other recourse, but I'm guessing we can resolve it.
I think a good timeline would be like a week to 2 weeks to get in contact with our electrician.
Yeah.
And then rewire it and maybe have some lights reoriented to those specs. Is that pretty reasonable?
It looks like you're digging wires into the ground.
You what? Well, they have to put a transformer in there.
I don't think you could dig in the ground in the next couple of weeks.
Already,
Yeah, if that's, Josh, I think he's asking if this.
but they can put them above each other
Okay.
for now. They don't have to be buried, because he's gonna have to install a transformer to drop the voltage.
Okay. Is
So
there any?
this thing is already lit in violation of the existing special permit. Why don't we let them light it with the better lighting and see what it looks like, and then have everybody come back?
Why not?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Are you suggesting to hold this hearing
Yep.
open then?
Let's continue.
Yeah,
it
that's
till-
what that is exactly what I'm suggesting. We've got a condition where the existing lighting is not permitted,
Right,
right?
we understand that. We understand that.
And we're talking pretty theoretically about whether there's gonna be a problem with some specific light bulbs. And quite frankly, let's just let them put them in, and then if there's a problem, we'll deal with it. And if there's not, we'll approve the permit.
So there's a way to write the decision to reference a product type or equal and to restrict, let me finish, please. To restrict no light spill on surrounding properties. There's a way to write.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, as long as there's the further restriction that there's gonna be no spillover to surrounding properties. I'm okay with that.
Well, that's typically how we would write any,
Okay,
in the planning world, that's how we write this stuff. So
And
that's,
then if there's spillover, then Jim can enforce it.
that's how we typically write those things.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I like what Wayne said, put them up, come back. Anybody have a problem out there instead of
Okay, well, we,
writing a manufacturing, you know, there's
That's
12
right.
manufacturers for these lights, so.
Right, that's a
We
specific.
we
model.
can't specify,
well, that's why you say or equal.
well, what's equal, you know?
Well, there's a product spec.
Right. I'd rather see the neighbor happy and you guys happy and get it done and then come back for 10 minutes some other time.
Okay. Does the board have any other questions or comments on this? Do you wish to continue the hearing or close the hearing? What is your preference?
If we're gonna continue it, I'd like to do it on a night where there's something a little more. We have another case here, not just come in for this.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but things get continued and sometimes, you know, she can try to set up a schedule and then people,
Do we have anybody else on the schedule coming up or?
So we don't have anything for February 13th at all. We do have a new case for the 27th of February.
We'll continue, I mean, we can do it. Grand Round might not thaw out by the 13th anyways. Why don't we do it on the 27th?
I can't be here on the 13th, so.
Or no meeting anyway.
okay.
How's everybody feel?
I think this is resolvable tonight because there's a way to write the condition and if there's a problem, Jim can enforce and they'll be back in front of us. If you prefer to hold this open and have them do something out on the property that right now isn't even authorized because there's no illumination in the existing special permit, you're essentially saying keep lighting the sign in some manner or another, but that's not allowed under the special permit they have. But if you want to do that, I guess,
I would like to do that, with a little assurance from the applicant. So you guys could get somebody to do this fairly quickly. They don't have to bury the wire. They can be on top, they're low voltage. And let them live with it for a week.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You know?
gave him my business card and I want to be reasonable with this and definitely help him out because he's our neighbor and make everyone happy.
I have a neighbor that left for 6 months. 4 lights on the garage, 2 spots on the pool and something else, and it absolutely drives us ballistically nuts.
You didn't go over and unscrew the bulbs?
I didn't, my neighbor did that to one of my houses somewhere else. I said, go unscrew the bulb if it bothers you. Somebody left it on. But, so I understand.
I'd go either way, Judy.
I think this is
Whichever.
easy to resolve, but I don't want to drag these people through another half hour of us trying to figure out which end is up. So if the board's preference is to simply continue this until the next hearing, when is it?
The 27th of February.
The 27th of February. And let these parties try to figure something out, recognizing that right now they're not in compliance with the special permit they have now. So we're essentially blessing them to continue to not be in conformance while they try to figure this out. If that's what you're willing to do, I just want it clear that that's what we're saying.
I'm willing to
Madam
do that.
Chair. I just want to point out, because Jim is not here, because this whole thing, I think, was triggered by an electrical permit that he put on hold, so, which is fine, we can just tell him what we're doing here, but I just wanted to mention that.
They need to do an after the fact RDA also anyways, right?
That's what the conservation commission said. like 30 years. When you say you want to continue this to some other date, you said you're not gonna be here.
I'm not going to be here on the 13th. I will be here on the
All
27th.
right,
But in terms of deciding on it tonight or on the 27th, I'm willing to defer to the applicant and to the neighbor. If both parties are happy with, let's try out this model that we found online tonight, see if it works. If it works, they come back in where everyone's happy. All done. If that's what both parties are happy with. If one or both says, nah, I'd like to deal with this tonight, then we have to deal with it tonight.
Do they need the permit? Do they need the permit for the electrician to be able to do the actual work? Is the building inspector holding the permit? Is that what's good? I'm just,
yeah,
That's what I believe.
because I think they need approval for the building inspector to issue the electrical permit to probably do the work is
Right.
what I'm thinking.
Is that how this came about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the complaint.
For the record, just so you know, I'm in no rush, like if you need a little time, I don't know if you have to move it along on the schedule, but it's no problem for me to, a month, 2 months, June, July, as long as it,
If they need the permit, it sounds like we gotta vote on it tonight.
That's kind of what I think too, but
Yeah, if we need the permit, then I think we just vote on it tonight and we put in the condition that there can't be any bleed.
Yep.
that's how these are usually written
Okay,
in other towns.
Works for me.
I'll make a motion to close the.
We have to
public
close the
hearing.
hearing, yeah.
Hold on one sec. And if it stinks, he's gonna come back and complain.
Right.
And I'm good with that. So are you good with what
Yeah.
we're saying?
just to be clear though, so when we leave today. And let's just say it's too bright or something. Do I come back or do I?
Well, so
You're gonna call him.
them.
Okay,
That would be my request. Call us and see if we can fix it.
okay, and if it's good, do I come back and just say it's good or,
You won't need
You won't
to.
need
No.
to.
We will
We
only
won't
see
hear-
you if there's a
I
problem.
knew it's good.
You'll let him know that it's a problem.
I think we're gonna work it out, yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
okay. So if there's no other questions or comments, can I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Do you have a second? All those in, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, Judy?
I feel.
Hi, Freeman.
I'm Wayne.
Can I have a motion? Close of this case.
Do you want to specify the light or just that there's no spillover?
Thank you.
How about we try this? A low voltage,
Can you write this down, Laura, just because
they install low voltage.
Yep.
Maximum of 2 lights. With, kind of. With only forward light. I guess. There's a technical, I can't think of it.
and no light spill.
I think the lumens that were in the spec that I gave you, I think dictates that. I think those
Right.
those numbers, and I can screenshot that exact one, because I think you said exactly that, that's what you were thinking, because it does dome, and it does have the shade, so the shade will contain the spread of the light, so.
I have them on my post
Yeah.
that
Okay,
you have to kind of look for it.
Right.
A little bit. It's for a reason. We're not
specific
allowed
to the, it's specific to the area,
Exactly.
which is exactly what I think we want.
Yeah,
And I-
thank you.
So I'll screenshot that, and
Absolutely.
I'll email it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Take your motion, Emmett.
Well, whatever we just wrote down.
Low voltage, maximum 2 lights with only forward facing light and no light spill.
onto offsite, no light spill offsite. Easy.
Second,
All
I
those,
said it.
all those in favor?
Who seconded it?
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
we need a second.
I'll
So
second
is Emmett's motion.
Oh, so,
Devin's motion, and I'll second.
thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye, Judy?
I, Phil.
I am it.
Hi, Freeman.
I'm Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you, folks,
Thank you.
for your patience.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna stick around for the next one too, if it's okay.
Right?
We're here to cause trouble.
Yeah, you know. What else am I gonna do on a Thursday night?
So the other matter is an administrative case. In which the applicant is requesting a building permit to construct a 10 by 12 three-season room on an existing concrete pad. Am I reading the right case here? I think I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. The board shall determine if this is a substantial or insubstantial modification of comprehensive. Oh, that's right. Comprehensive comprehensive permit? It's a special permit.
It's a modification to the, like, when it was originally built, it was built on special permit, so any modifications to any of the structures
Right.
within it are just. A modification to the special
Yes, there
permit.
I understand, but what I'm reading says comprehensive permit, so maybe. you can't.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not
it's
sure.
12 by 12. Not something. I don't.
You're
12 by
right,
12.
it's special permits. I have it right here.
That's all right. It's just me when I saw that. So we have in front of us Jim's referral dated December 9th, right? We have plans for the addition, renovation, we have. That's what we have.
Site plan.
Yes.
And the letter from the homeowners association.
Yes. Would have no objection. Sure. You can talk whatever you want, because it's gonna pick you up, but you do have to identify yourself.
Okay,
My
so
name and
I'm
address.
Ren Halsey with Shire Town Glass. I'm doing the work for Village of Duxbury and the homeowner, who currently lives at 415 Queen Anne's Way. This pre-existing path, it's already 12 by 12. And we're basically just gonna make them just a nice little season porch to sit right on top of what's pre-existing. And I think the matter was to find out what was substantial or insubstantial. And I would really find it substantial. It's very, very small in size.
What's out there now? Just a pad?
Just a, yeah, concrete pad. And we're gonna be putting the structure right over covering that. So we're not really even exceeding what's already
It's
pre-existing.
already covered impervious wise.
Yes.
Right.
Look a lot better.
Has Jim reviewed the application? Is it acceptable to put this type of structure on a pad that's susceptible to frost? It's gonna move up and down?
Yep. Yeah, it'll be built to build a code, yes. And we'll go through all the proper inspections and so forth. So, yeah, there was,
It's usually have to have something goes 4 feet in the ground to support a structure, right? Or-
yeah, we've given him all the structural engineering and everything. He has everything. It's all, I think, within your packets. So.
Yes.
It's straightforward. I just didn't see it. I didn't know that was originally a special permit when that project was originally done. Other than that, it just would have been a very straightforward permit and then he would have approved it, but I think he just wanted your blessing. Make sure you saw it as insubstantial.
This isn't Plymouth, everything's a special permit.
Is this something we can approve administratively?
You just have to make a determination whether it's substantive departure from the special permit that was granted. I mean, I don't see how it would be. There's no change in impervious coverage on the site. You're simply taking an existing covered spot and putting a room on it. I don't see what the problem is.
It sounds like it was maybe built for something.
Somebody was probably going to
Thinking of it way back, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
My only question is, do the other homes on the site have a similar concrete pad that, and I'm only asking that because my concern is this the first one, and then if we say it's, you know, not a substantial modification, if we get 3 or 4 others, all of a sudden that's starting to sound like more of a substantial modification to the special permit. But if this is the only house that has this concrete pad situation, it strikes me as pretty insubstantial.
From what I could see, just being in the backyard and walking around there, that's the only one that I saw. You know, and I've seen it in there, it looks like there has been other aftermarket structures added. I don't know when they were done, who did them or
We don't
whatever.
want to know.
Was the
Wow.
concrete pad approved as part of the original special permit?
You would have to read the special permit, I'm not sure.
I think it does.
So-
go on that.
So I have a couple of questions. The first is, has this been appropriately noticed?
No hearing, we're not in a hearing, Wayne.
Okay, then the answer to that is yes, it has been appropriately noticed. I'm just concerned that the public hearing agenda reflects a comprehensive permit. And what we're talking about is a special permit. And where in the special permit is the existing pad reflected? Those are my 2 questions.
We don't know.
Is it on the site plan?
Yeah, the pad is shown, I believe, on,
I don't see it on the site plan.
I mean, it's a poured pad, so I'm guessing it was done from fruition. I mean, if it was a paper patio or a deck or something like that, I could see that somebody did
Pointed
that.
out on this? map or
It's right there.
the yellow thing? Yellow thing? So I'm looking at the wrong thing.
So the original design with these garden homes, there was a concrete pad and then we would put a deck
Mhm.
over those. So this person is,
They never got the deck, so
Right.
whoever did it,
Is it on the footprint of that building? Is it one of the bump outs?
See it on Google
I'll
Maps.
see if it's shown.
Right.
A lot of, well, I'm pretty sure it was.
Also, you could zoom in on the yellow splotch there, Lauren, please.
So the reason I asked the question is because I didn't see it.
But you go out there, Wayne?
No, I didn't see it in the material.
Oh,
And I'm wondering if, I mean, these all show these structures built on top of structures when they were originally done, so I don't know if they would have shown that.
Where is it on the building?
So. Is this the Queen Anne's Way right there? Yep.
Yes.
So it's like right here. So it's not even like going towards any other neighbors, it's going, you're really in an opposite direction, so even from any kind of setback, so to speak, it really wouldn't hinder, and it was definitely poured at the time of
Original construction.
original construction, yeah, and as he said, I think they did that for probably, it was probably an option when people were moving and buying in these homes, if they wanted a deck or they wanted a patio.
I think at the minimum, it's gotta be as-built, right?
Yeah, I don't see a site plan in here, and I would think to get a building permit, you need a site plan. And if that's a site plan, I don't think that conforms with what we're looking for. And I agree with the concept that if the Joneses have one, the Millers are gonna want one too. Well, and that could
can't get enough detail on this.
turn into coverage issues and all that kind of stuff.
I think would be taken up on a case by case basis, because this here, there's already a pad here that was already put in, I think. When it was built, so. I think anybody else adding a patio would have to go through that and obviously continue with that whole, that whole process. And then you would have site review with whoever comes before you at that particular time.
Right, but. I mean, even to put a shed up, it needs to be on a site plan. So that 12 by 12 needs to be drawn. Somebody's gonna say it's there at the minimus.
Yeah, and what's the impervious coverage on the lot? You can't see the certain percentage.
Is it a lot? Is it all
It's all one big lot,
That's what I thought.
that's why there's no.
They did an aggregate coverage on
Correct,
this.
that's why, this is all
Right.
one big lot,
Understood.
Okay,
And I remember when this was approved.
yeah.
I mean, usually we ask people to check with their homeowners association and we accept what the homeowners association says, so
good point.
and that's usually what we do.
Right. My thought is that it does appear to be pretty insubstantial, and also I lean on, it's not visible to anybody else. It's not like anybody else is gonna care outside of the homeowners association.
Right. Right, I'm okay with it all. I'm surprised Jim's letting him go without a site plan. That's,
Yeah, the engineer did do the plan of the structure and what's gonna go there and all of that, but I spent countless times on the phone with Jim. I was like, there
so
anything
Jim
else?
might have that.
No, I just asked him, is there anything else you need from me? And he was like,
Right.
no, he's like, I just wanna get the zoning board's blessing on this. He's like, I have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. He says, I'll just feel better knowing that they put their rubber
Right,
stamp
right.
on it.
I think Jim's asking us to put a rubber stamp on to use your term, which is appropriate, a rubber stamp on the concept.
Insubstantial, yeah.
And then Jim will require what Jim requires
Right.
to
Correct.
actually
All right,
have the
Yeah.
project.
so he will be asked.
So we can make
Yeah,
it
and
some,
he's good with it, he's good with
Oh,
the
all right.
entire plan, he's good with the structural, we had all structural engineered, he was fine with everything, I think he was just a little.
Yeah,
And I get it. I
and
completely
in
get it.
this case, we don't have to have issue any conditions or anything like that. We're just being asked, is this a substantial departure or not?
Right.
And I'm leaning towards it is not.
I just don't understand why I got a square box on this plan. With a little bump going on it, and I got something completely different on the wall. That's got a dozen jogs, and this is a square box.
I don't know, unless they just did a downward view.
That's a downward view also, though, isn't it?
I don't know if that was. Well, actually, you know what? That does show a straight, if you look at it, you don't see all the jogs on that.
Square box.
Yeah.
This is the foundation plan or the,
But that's the original plan that was originally permitted back when that whole thing was built. So I'm guessing maybe when they originally built it and designed it, there were probably modifications that were made in the building department as far as.
That box. Than this.
Yep.
what do you think, Wayne?
I'm not thrilled. I don't think it's a big deal, but I can't figure out why there's a pad there to begin with.
They suggested decks were going to be built on them.
Right. But
This
they,
raises. We need a submittal checklist on these. Because people come looking for an answer, how big a deal is this? And we're sitting here trying to figure out, well, what did the original permit say? What did the land say? And these guys don't have that information, because they don't know, they don't know to bring it. So I think we need to be clear when someone's coming and asking, we've had these kind of cases before. What is it? What's the information the board's gonna need? So people aren't looking to us and saying, I gotta come back. I don't know, like,
I'm shocked he's not asking. I couldn't get a permit without having a
Yeah, but we could approve it subject to.
subject to all of that, right?
Him being
right.
happy with what they
But
said.
hang on, guys, we're not being asked to approve a special permit. Yep, all we're being asked is.
Right.
it's just substantially consistent with the permit that was granted, and we don't have that permit.
And maybe
That's
it's
the
not
problem.
our position to state what the application should consist of, because we're not voting.
That's what I'm saying,
Yep.
Lauren, I think we need a submittal checklist, because these cases come up. This isn't the first time we've seen one of these.
Yeah, we had Duxbury Woods not that long ago.
That's right, which was a comprehensive permit.
This was a structure, I think,
Checkerberry, but that was a deck.
it was an existing deck that was built on the same type of project, and then they just put an enclosure, or that they just put a deck on top of it. And my guess with that, just circling back and thinking about it, that maybe when this original project was drawn, it wasn't really. It was what a conceptual, you know what I mean? This is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna have to spend the units, this and that.
Mhm.
And then probably through the design process,
Right.
it changed. That is probably what happened, because that could have been the very, very original. When somebody's going in and permitting a project, and then maybe when the architects and everybody, they start laying everything out. somebody, the architect just decided to just design it a little bit different, staying within the parameters, but just change the design of the house is how I would read that, because you're right, it's completely different, but somebody approved that when it was built. So, I mean, it was permitted and built based on what that structure is.
So Bill, to your point, that is how clusters and PDs were done in this town. It was a plan to develop a site with X number of units, and you were showing conceptually
Yeah.
where those buildings were gonna go, but then I just remember Weston Farms, I'm that old. Those buildings came in one at a time, and design review had like 30 days to look at them or something before they got a building permit. So it's very possible that the actual building on a site would have been a little bit different from what was shown on that concept plan, which was
Yeah.
really it was like a site plan approval process
Correct.
for a development that was going to then have buildings built kind of one at a time.
Yeah.
I know Bay Farm was done that way.
And this was built, permitted and everything, and the structure and the size that it currently sits
Yeah.
on, so somebody approved it at some point in time to be what exactly it is right now.
Similar to our 40Bs, we get shown a
Yeah,
pretty something, but
yeah,
lots of times we don't get that.
right.
We get a something, but
Right.
not that.
Not that.
They're supposed to build what we approve, though. I think.
But we didn't approve. the
No,
buildings
not
on
total
these
design.
projects.
On this,
Oh,
this,
on this.
yes,
We didn't approve actual buildings.
I understand,
Okay.
but now with our 40Bs, we do though, don't we?
Not the exact,
No,
no,
so you think Harlow Brook can
they have to stick
build
to the,
whatever they want?
the square footage, but they can. Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
Bedrooms,
Then what's the
everything.
point in having design review the plans?
That's why I'm saying it probably would be helpful to know what was in the actual approved, the decision. Because usually in this town, projects like that do go through design review, but it's happening at the building permit stage, not the special permit stage. Because there's not a plan, it's not a building plan to review. That's, I can just tell you, that's how Weston Farms was done.
And I don't
It was
think
a
that
building by
mattered
building.
because it was one major parcel. So I think
Right.
because it was one big permit, they had that flexibility to be able to cookie cutter redesign, change and modify because they weren't, it's not like a development where you have all your setbacks and you get the next lot and all the setbacks and the next lot and all the setback. That's why I think that's how that happened.
was design review board back then?
Oh, yeah,
They were.
yeah. I mean, to your point on the comprehensive permit, ironically, we get more information at this level on the building elevations than we often do on the whole special permits.
Right,
So.
where are we at, folks?
We're just here to
I mean,
determine whether it's a substantial.
my only comment is usually we defer to what did the homeowners association say? And if the homeowners association doesn't have a problem with it, I don't either, but I understand your concern. That at some point, when does this, is the potential for cumulative change become substantial? And I don't know how to answer that tonight.
Right, well, I mentioned that, but then I fall back on your comment about that we defer to the homeowners association, and in this instance, I don't think that the applicant, not really an applicant, but I don't think that the homeowners association is going to start approving these things willy-nilly if it doesn't benefit the entire homeowners association. They're not going to start approving stuff that's going to turn a nice development into a dog.
Right.
Aside from that, it's a case by case basis. So if Mrs. Smith and Jones come up, we don't have to say yes, or maybe we say, maybe the second one is a substantial.
Yeah, it could be something different.
And they were very diligent when we were designing and everything. They had us change some things. So it was a good process, no doubt, so.
I mean, I can just almost picture how this went through permitting. There were probably concept elevations. No, this is what these buildings are going to be. But then actually putting one on the ground at the building permit stage was a different level of review.
I come down on calling this, and it's insubstantial. Insubstantial.
I do too, respecting the issue that you raised. And I don't know what we're going to be able to answer that tonight, but right now what we have is a case asking us for approval of an insubstantial change for one case where the homeowners association says we don't have a problem.
I say insubstantial and have at it.
I'm okay with it.
Do you want to take a vote then?
We should, but we're not a public hearing.
No, we're not, but I mean, Bill, I would assume Jim would want some kind of vote. Do we want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that this project at whatever.
415.
415 Queen Anne Way is an unsubstantial modification addition to the project.
Special permit. Perfect. Second,
Any discussion? I guess hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, Judy.
I, Phil.
I am it.
I, Freeman.
Wayne opposed.
Okey-doke. Got a 4-1 vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, guys.
No minutes.
No minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
you.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good luck with your test.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All righty. When's our next, February 13th, the next meeting?
Well, we don't have anything for that meeting, so
Actually, I'll be in Nantucket that night. I won't be here.
27th, right?
the next
27th.
meeting is the
27th.
27th.
Do we have any minutes we have to deal with?
No.
No.
we're not.
All right, I'm gonna take my daughter to dinner then.
I think that's a great idea. Have fun.
All right.
Where are you going?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I can't make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our zoning meeting.
Is there a
Where are you
second?
going, Wayne? Second.
Somewhere in Austin, Texas.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne, enjoy.